Hello everyone, Sandrak here. Apologies for most of the videos recently. Either the voice lines are wrong or something was wrong. Basically, there were some family issues and I had to deal with basically babysitting plus on top of full-time work. So it's been pretty tiring for some of the days. So my videos I tend to be less energized if you can hear from my voice. And on top of that, apparently the audio on my yesterday's video messed up, so apologies for that. Now, of course, with that said, today's video I want to discuss on the topic of as a low budget spender or a free-to-play player, whether you should pull on weapon banners at this point. And I believe the answer has switched to a yes. However, it's only a sometimes. Let me explain. So previously, the hard-on rule to not pull on weapon banner was because one, there is no hard pity. So if you're going for a specific weapon, there is a chance you can pull out 10 of the other weapon without getting the weapon you want. On top of that, it is generally considered to be a waste of time because back in during Mondstadt and the Lua days of Genshin, any 5-star character paired with a 4-star sword is enough to deal with most situations, and it still is in the current situation. However, even excluding the Abyss with the situation of Inazuma, basically all new mobs HP bar is 30% higher than their equivalent version of previous mobs, and on top of that, all new mobs all have very cool ways of avoiding getting crowd controlled. With that said, I believe it is now worth to pull on the weapon banner alongside the corresponding character you want. So for example, if you want Hu Tao, you should also pull on the Staff of Homa banner. That is my saying because ever since Hu Tao's released, every single character has come with one of their corresponding weapons as one of the raid ups in their corresponding weapon banner. Venti had Allergy for the End, Child has Skyward Harp. I know Skyward Harp is not a new weapon, but it works with Child, and Child can use both the secondary stat and passive very nicely. And Eula came with her new Claymore, and Kazuha came with his new sword, just some examples. Now, of course, with that said, I still believe you should not pull on every single weapon banner. So you should still select the type of weapon banners you want to pull on. And generally, for me personally, the rule is that the weapon itself has to be universally used so that even if this character becomes out of the meta, quote unquote, out of the meta in the future, that someone might still be able to use this 5-star weapon. One very good example is Hu Tao. Hu Tao's corresponding weapon, the Staff of Homa, is basically the best weapon for also Zhang Li, Xiao, and even characters like Rosaria, as long as you have extras. They can also use it, and it tends to be a high damage weapon for them as well, even though it might not be their best, but it's at least their top 3 pick among the polearms. So in that case, if you pulled on Hu Tao's banner and you also got Staff of Homa, even if Hu Tao for some reason becomes not very playable, or not playable, but like not very popular in the future, you should still be able to use Staff of Homa on future Claymore characters, and this is overall a long-term investment, so this would be able to make for nicer use. Whereas if you pull on Kazuha's banner as well as his sword, currently Kazuha is the only one who is able to use his sword. Now, of course, there might be characters who come in the future who can also use Kazuha's sword, but as for right now, it's the weapon that only he can use. So when any other characters comes in and tries to use this weapon, it's not very advantageous. And overall, the reason I believe why you should always pull on the character and the character's corresponding weapon banner is because, as I've said before, all characters comes with their corresponding weapon, and they receive a huge damage boost because the weapon is specifically designed with them in mind. So with that said, because there are only 4 slots you can put into any team in Genshin, it is much better than trying to get for more replacements of the characters. You can always swap out for the strongest character so that you can build them. It is better to funnel quite a bit of primal gems into a weapon that will be useful on your main DPS so that overall you can receive a higher damage boost for your team. And on top of that, weapons takes less time to build than characters. For character, you have to work on levels, talents, and also artifacts, which is basically hell. As for weapons, all you need to do is just farm up the weapon ascension material, and that, personally for my experience, takes around 2 or 3 days depending on your luck on the weapon ascension material domains, and once that is done, the weapon is done. So it not only takes less time to build, but it is also a more consistent way of building increasing damage, because instead of swapping out for more and more OP DPS, you just get a good DPS, not even have to be OP, with an OP weapon. Now kaboom, you got an OP DPS. So that is my take on whether you should pull on the weapon banner or not. Now of course, with that said, with the new pity system, I believe it is better for you to save up for guaranteed before you start going on the character banner and the weapon banner. Basically what I'm trying to say is, I know this might sound ridiculous for free-to-play players, but for low budget spenders, what you should aim for is like 150 pulls for the character banner, so you're almost guaranteed, and then also like at least save for 2 times the weapon banner. So basically 2 times 80 is 160 for the weapon banner, so that even if you fail both time, you're guaranteed the next time, and you can just there should be enough ways to get primal gems to account for another 80 pulls. So that is my take on whether you should pull on the weapon banner or not. And I believe that with the addition of new and more powerful mobs, that eventually free-to-play players or even budget spenders will be forced to pull on the weapon banner, because having a 5-star with certain 4-star weapons isn't going to cut it for the game at some point anymore, at least also not in the Spiral Abyss. So that is my personal take on it. Of course, leave your comments below on what you think this is, and thank you very much for watching. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. Thank you and have a nice day.